Hey guys, welcome back to Welcome Home Custom. Today we are going to learn how to assemble our propagation set. Let's get started. All right guys, let's go ahead and review the files for the propagation set. We are going to go into the SVG as an example to start. First and foremost, always read your instructions. It's going to tell you what the different colors do as far as if you should be cutting or scoring. I've included the RGB code along with the light burn code so that you can quickly identify the colors. A note on scoring. Scoring is not engraving. It will error out. You must set your speed and power. This is a line setting. It is a fast cut, low power so that it only marks the wood. If you close the shapes, it will cause a mess, so please don't do that. The instructions will also include things like the supplies that I used, the tubes that I recommend using, and then an overview of slots and tabs. The tabs for the files are not joined. We'll go over why in just a little bit. There is, however, a joined file for Lightburn users that want to use the resize slots in selection under the tools section. However, please note that the size of your tab input needs to be 0.50 and the size of your slot needs to be 0.25 inches for your starting size. The file breakdown, it will show you an example of how I would recommend changing the slots. You will see a light gray line that's pointing to the slots or tabs that it's referring to. And then you'll see this fun little guy. He's a reference point. He is located in most vector programs. We will review this in more detail in a little bit, but if you do need to adjust slots for any reason, make sure that you refer to this diagram. And then last, we have all of the designs. Now you'll note that the base file has this blue line. That is so that you can grab any of the designs and pull it over the blue line. And we will go over that in just a little bit as well. If we go to the base, we see the join file that I referred to. Again, that is for Lightburn users specifically. And then we have all of these numbers right here, 250 down to 115. That is your slot and tab size in inches. You will want to grab the material measurement tool from welcomehomecustom.com and cut it out in the wood that you're going to be using. And you can use this as a quick reference to figure out what size slot you should be using. So if we grab one of these and open it up, we can see our file. Now I will note when we get to the assembly section, I completely changed one of the parts. I had a shelf here with slots, and I decided to remove it, and you'll see what I did in a little bit. These pieces right here are going to glue to the back of your legs, just add additional support. This guy glues up here to add additional support for your slots. And then you'll note that there is this pink magenta color inside the red. That's if you have a smaller tube, you could use this. I do recommend just using calipers, measuring your tube, and then adjusting the hole to fit your needs. So when I mentioned reference point, I'm going to arrange and ungroup so that I can grab these tabs. So first and foremost, you'll note that the height here says my tabs are 0.382. That is because I am doubling the size of the tab so it can go through 2 thicknesses of wood. Okay, so this file is actually 0.191, and then this is double that, making it 0.382. Okay. if we wanted to change this, if we needed to change this for any reason, this is the thing that I was referring to, the reference point right up here. We're going to want to make sure that it is locked on top, and we will change the height only. Make sure your reference or your ratio is unlocked, and we can change this height. This is only if you need to. I can make it 1, but you can see how it locked it up here and moved it down. Same with our slots. If we were to arrange and ungroup, and our slots are both 191, let's say they needed to be half an inch. It's not going to happen, but I'm just using an example. We're going to want to move our reference point down here so that it's centered, and let's say it's half an inch. You can see it's now made them half an inch wide. The other one that we need to lock on top are the tabs down here. So again, arrange and ungroup, and we can grab our tabs and we can change it however big or small we need to make them. Okay, let's go ahead and move this over, and we are going to import the design itself. So here are our designs, and they are grouped. What we're going to do is we're going to grab one of these and we're going to pull it over. Let's zoom in so we can see what we're doing. And we want to basically line it up with this blue, like that. Okay? Now, what we can do is we can actually grab the blue and we can delete it. We don't need it any longer. And that's how I would manage the blue part. Okay? So let's go ahead and jump on over to assembly. Okay, so here are the cut pieces. So these pieces right here are the stand. As I mentioned before, it's going to be a little bit different. So this shelf right here that I'm showing you, I actually ended up getting rid of, which we'll review at the very end. And then this is the shelf that goes on top with the bracket goes in back and the extra legs that go behind. So first thing we're going to do is clean up our wood. I'm going to use a Norwex cloth to get off any of the major grime on the front, and then I'm going to use my hand sander for the back. Now that everything's clean, let's go ahead and add the shelf. We are going to insert the shelf on top, pushing it all the way through until the slots or until the tabs are exposed on the back. And then we are going to add the second bracket to the back of the piece, and this is acting as additional support for your bracket. If you need to, you can always add glue to the bracket to help with additional support. Just dot some glue onto the piece and then put it back into place. Now, as I had stated before, I removed this bottom shelf, but I did want to go ahead and show you guys the brackets in back. Now, we won't have slots that we need to work with, but basically what you're going to want to do is line up the bottom of this bracket with the top of your tab and line it up along the leg of the propagation station. This is just adding a little bit more surface area for the propagation station to sit on, making it just a little bit more stable. Next, we are going to move on to our base. So we will want to go ahead and make sure we have the correct base on top and bottom. This is another small change I made. You will see at the very end. You do not need to cut out the oval on the top bracket if you do not want to. I ended up cutting it out because I was mixing and matching my woods, and it ended up looking really pretty mixed with other woods, so that is an option. Now that I have slid the bracket onto the base of my propagation station, I am going to add some glue, and then I am going to slide the second stand onto the open tabs. Okay, so as I mentioned, I removed that shelf. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and insert one of my cutout ovals back in to the stand. That way the tubes are going to have something to sit on, and then I am going to push it down into place. I actually think it's a really pretty added kind of interest to the piece, so it worked out. All right, guys, that's it. Hopefully you found this tutorial helpful. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and check out more tutorials just like this. Thanks so much.